You know what the word FOMO means, and I'm sure most people do, but in case they don't, fear of missing out. On Saturday, right around 1 o'clock, I was at my family reunion up in Jekyll Island, and FOMO was hitting me so hard because I almost never miss anything when it comes to Jaguars being out on the practice field, and I didn't get to go to rookie minicamp. And while I understand it's not like I missed a game, it's still, I had FOMO, and I was on my phone on social media the whole time trying to see every single picture and video I could get my hands on.
You did miss the game because of your appendix being removed, and you're telling me you had more FOMO from missing a rookie minicamp where they ran around, maybe did a few routes here, a couple routes were run here and there. Maybe they pushed a sled or two.
Yeah, while the appendix was bursting, as a matter of fact, I still wanted to go to the press box. So, yes, I do have sincere and serious FOMO. But, yeah, let's obviously get to the story, and that is Travis Hunter being out on the grass for the first time.
Yeah, and certainly, look, I don't want to make this bigger than it is, this idea of rookie minicamp, and oh my God, there's so much we can glean from it. You heard from Liam Cohen if you've listened to the Superstation at all today, or you listened to the live stream of that press conference. It's not like they have pads on. Right. It's not like he's going up one-on-one against a defender. Even when they did line up in an 11-on-11 setting, it was honestly to practice breaking the huddle and noticing motion and certain alerts and calls and practicing, hey, this is where you stand in the huddle. Truly getting down to basics and, here she goes, onboarding these rookies, which Wyatt Milam, for example, told us after practice, look, I was in a tempo offense at West Virginia. I know how to break the huddle because we certainly had a more NFL traditional style offense when I was in high school, but it's been 4 years where we did go up tempo. It wasn't necessarily a quarterback being relayed a play, telling us what we were supposed to do, and then going from there. And so I think that it's a lot of the basics. It's a lot of walkthrough. So I don't want to say you didn't miss a ton, but Travis Hunter did have a Jaguar jersey on, and he did catch the football, and it did get 22,000 views on our YouTube channel. So evidently, there are people who have interest, and so
people are here for it. That's for sure.
It's a reality, and
he'll play defense starting next week.
Yes. Now he was quick to note to us that he has already taken a look into the defensive playbook, it seems. It seems like behind the scenes, not on the grass, he has already, in his estimation, been integrated into the defense.
Because his boat's not here yet.
Well, his boat's not here yet.
Yeah,
no.
So that's why he can do both.
Right, exactly. And also he had to leave last week for graduation. Point being, when we said, hey, Liam said you're going to be integrated into the defense on the field next week, he's like, I feel like I already am. It's just that I haven't actually taken snaps on the practice field with the defense, but that is expected to take place next week when the rest of the veterans are back in-house, which actually is this week, but we won't have an official OTA, that whole 90-man roster together. Next Monday will be the first time we'll have an opportunity to see them all in action.
Right. I think what's exciting for the fans, and there were around 2,000 there in attendance, I saw that you get to see an elite athlete up close and personal, right? Like, this is a guy who every NFL team, I guarantee you, had an elite grade on him. And now the Jaguars get him. And of course, yes, seeing Mason Graham vomiting at practice. Look, I think at the end of the day, we, as a storyline, of course, are focusing on Travis Hunter playing offense, Travis Hunter playing defense, and we're going to focus on that throughout training camp, certainly OTAs and into training camp. But I think the bigger thing, Mia, is this guy is a superstar athlete, and he can do it all. The Jaguars obviously just have to be really smart as to the situational football that they're going to put him in.
Right, and that's, again, it's a process. It's like everything. I know you all want to see it all right now. We want to see it all and all. It's okay. Like, it's going to take a second. And especially because, well, yes, I believe that Travis Hunter is out of the box ready. They have to make sure that the training staff, that the medical staff, heaven forbid something was to happen to him, that they are prepared. And there are certain arrangements put in place of, okay, if X happens, this is how we respond. And I think that that's equally as important, as well as the coaching staff of, okay, he needs to take a couple plays off on defense, not because he's exhausted, but because that's what the plan calls for. Okay, who are we going to bring in onto the field in his place? That all needs to be sorted out, and that needs to be given grace and patience as much as Travis Hunter's physical ability to play both ways.
Here's what Albert Breer has to say in his latest mailbag. Albert Breer, obviously a SI insider. I think the Jaguars' plan for sequencing Travis Hunter's learning makes sense. Any rookie is drinking through a fire hose. Starting him on offense last week and then giving him the baseline on defense this week rather than doing it all at once is logical. I think that's kind of a no-duh comment, right? Like every rookie that went into the building, they had to learn where their meeting rooms are. They had to figure out exactly, the plan, the schedule each day, what, the nutrition, the weight room. There's so much that goes into it. And so while, yes, they come from colleges that have most likely elite nutrition programs and strength and conditioning, it still is a different place. And so I think, and we just heard Tony Baselli on the Jaguars today discussing, they want to take these rookies through the plan so that way when the vets get there, they're already much more comfortable.
Yep. I think that's, again, it's a good process of, hey, let's just show you let's just make sure that you're acquainted. It's syllabus week, and it's truly ensuring like, hey, you know what the rules and the expectations are so that you're not overwhelmed when players who have been in the league for as long as you've been playing the sport of football walk into the building, and all of a sudden you're looking around and you're like, well, now I'm worried about matching their level while also just trying to get the basics down pat.
Yeah, for sure. And look, Liam Cohen seems pretty excited to be in this role now, and he's got a lot of support from people like Tony Baselli, certainly James Gladstone as well. And I think it's not just Travis Hunter, though. We of course, are so focused on him, but Bashal Tutin could be he could be the starting running back this season. Wyatt Milam could certainly be the starting left guard this season if things go according to plan for him. There's a lot of guys there. Kent Allen as well. I think we've talked about. I think he'll be in the rotation at running back as well. Like there's going to be a lot of opportunities for these rookies.
Yeah, I do want to circle back to Travis Hunter because I do want to, obviously he's the headliner, but I want to talk about a storyline that I thought was kind of underplayed this weekend. So we'll get to that here in a second. But to your point, Lauren, let's empty the notebook a little bit in case you missed my quick hits. Some big takeaways for me. Again, in my estimation, while Lauren has FOMO,
serious
there's
FOMO.
not
Love my family and all. 53rd annual Braxton family reunion.
Yeah, there's not a ton you can glean from this. It was fun to be out there despite getting eaten alive by the gnats. I thought that, to your point, Bashal Tutin a little bit thicker in his lower body than I anticipated. There was one point where he was going through the ladder and he stepped into it and it kind of like shuffled. The ladder got all messed up. What would it be? Straw? Not what's the material? Rope. The rope ladder that you lay out on the grass. And Chad Morton, the running backs coach, was like, oh, what? People showed up and now you're getting nervous? Bright lights, man. And then he resets up the ladder and he went through it, no issue. But a little bit thicker in the lower body. Kent Allen, a little bit taller than I anticipated, a bit leaner in the lower body. Wasn't expecting that to be the case. Certainly Jaquindon Jackson, the undrafted free agent rookie.
Out of Arkansas.
Yes. Started his career at Utah, though. Injury plagued. Started as a quarterback in high school. I have followed him because Kevin's a Utah fan. Actually, I have my Ute shirt on today, as a matter of fact, if you're watching live on YouTube. And so I was familiar with his game. What I wasn't familiar with, because I've never stood next to him until Saturday, is how tall he is. This is a guy who, yes, played quarterback, so he's over 6 foot tall. And I don't want to say it made the other two look smaller than they actually are, but he is a big dude. And we don't talk about 6 foot plus running backs, probably unless they're Derrick Henry. I am not putting this man in the Derrick Henry conversation. Don't worry. I'm not going to be that hyperbolic. But I will tell you, he is a big frame dude. And so you couple all three of those running backs together and they all give you a little something different, which was, again, something that you could take away from practice. Tutin had a really nice shoestring catch during with the quarterbacks from Seth Hennigan. And I thought that was a really nice catch by him. And certainly the receiving prowess is going to be attributed, I think, to Kent Allen and this idea of him being a third down back, but seeing Tutin be involved in the screen game is something I saw a lot of Jaguar fans having conversations online about this weekend. This idea of could he also be a complement to the wide receiver treasure trove the Jaguars are trying to build. I thought that was an interesting takeaway. And then speaking of the wide receivers, obviously all young guys still getting used to the playbook. Loved that Wyatt Milam said they were the ones who were doing a walkthrough in the parking lot of the team hotel. Eli Pankel was a player who I was really excited to see on Saturday, the Duke wide receiver, and again had some injuries that prevented him from maybe popping off in Durham as much as he expected during his collegiate career. Had a really nice catch over the middle where he went up and caught it. And so I think that what's going to be interesting, Lauren, when it comes to wide receiver 5, this idea of what do the Jaguars still need? Because you've got Brian Thomas Jr., who's your alpha number 1. You've got Travis Hunter, who your alpha number 2. You have De'Ami Brown, who's your burner. You have Parker Washington, who's more of your traditional.
Well, all three are burners, really.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
You have Parker Washington. Well, he's more of your XZ straight line running or wide receiver. Not to say he can't line up in the slot too, but certainly he's more of your downfield burner. You have Parker Washington, who's more of your traditional slot receiver. And then what do you need outside of special teams value in wide receiver 5? And so seeing J.J. Jones, another triangle product out of North Carolina, and Pankol out of Duke, these guys who are bigger bodied, can be acrobatic in the air, go up and high point. Is that what the Jaguars need to round out that wide receiver room? I think that's a conversation we'll be having for the next few months.
And Eli is an elite dancer. I saw the video. You would have seen it in person, but Travis Hunter started to dance, and then Eli as well. Can Seth Hennigan become the Jaguars' backup quarterback? Could he beat out Nick Mullins?
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
I would say, and I had this conversation with Kevin when I got home, I would equate, first off, Seth Hennigan is not winning first off the bus. Never. And I think he would tell you that. He's not, he doesn't, walk onto the field and you're like, oh my God, look at this athletic freak at quarterback. That's not his MO. His MO is high EQ, high IQ, placing the ball at the right place at the right time. That's the type of quarterback that he is. He reminded me a little bit, and this is where Kevin critiqued it and said, don't play Flint Minshew like that. He reminded me of Gardner at Gardner's rookie minicamp, in that I don't want to say it's unpolished, but he's just a gamer. Like, that was the vibe I got from him. And then you couple that with, Gardner's father owns gyms throughout the state of Mississippi. And so you could argue, well, he was more of a gym rat. I'm not saying Seth Hennigan's not a gym rat, but he just screams the type of guy that if you saw him in passing on the street, you wouldn't realize, like, oh my God, this is a guy who started for 4 years at Memphis, one of the better group of 5 schools we've seen over the last decade, won the job as a true freshman.
And he was very successful.
Very successful. And so, I mean, look, I saw a couple fans online that were critiquing, like, oh, I don't know, a couple of his passes were low. Look, it's one day. Like, take a deep breath.
That's what fans do, is always critique quarterbacks.
I encourage everyone, and I did so prior to Liam Cohen revealing the reason Seth Hennigan got on the radar of the Jacksonville Jaguars was because John Gruden had texted Liam and said, you got to check this guy out. RJ does have the clip. This is, in my estimation, first of all, RJ, give yourself a round of applause, because there's a lot of cuss words. John Gruden does his QB class. It's not QB camp anymore. It's QB class. He does it with Barstool on YouTube. And so, the language is a little colorful, but RJ did some heavy lifting. And so here is a sampling from John Gruden's QB class with Jaguars undrafted rookie quarterback Seth Hennigan.
Get in a huddle and call it for me. Like the formation and the whole thing, like you really like it. I kind of feel like you're a robot. You're like, blah, 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 blah.
Hey, let's go. Let's get in here. We got Troop Right ZN, Gold Pacer Slide X Little Rock. On one. Ready?
That's what I'm talking about, man. I think the big criticism of you, really, if there is any, is I think there's not a criticism. I think there's a perception that you're not a great athlete and you don't have the vertical ball. But when I watch Memphis all the way back to your freshman year, you guys have a hell of a vertical passing game. What's your feeling on your vertical game? What are the strengths that you have throwing the deep ball?
I think I'm accurate with the deep ball. Nice touch, not overly just chucking it, locating the ball in the right place. Good catch right there.
When you throw for 15,000 yards, you got to make some of it down the field, but some of these passes are on the money, man.
Yeah, it's
very tough. It's about 45 minutes worth of content.
We watched it on TV. That's the beauty of smart TVs. You can pull it up on your YouTube app. You can watch it as if it's a episode of a show on Netflix or something like that.
If you do have young children, maybe censor some of it because, like Mia said, there's a lot of cuss words.
I do want to circle back to some comments from both Travis Hunter and Liam Cohen with regards to Edgar Bennett and that relationship with Travis Hunter, because equally as important as strength and conditioning and the overall plan for the two-way star, I think is going to be the development of his nuanced route running, which has been the one critique of where can Travis Hunter still grow. And I think that the Jacksonville native, longtime NFL assistant and coordinator, is going to play a huge role in that.
Yeah, not quite yet. We'll get there, right? Still getting to know him. Just met him. I'll be honest, hadn't watched a ton of his tape before we ended up bringing him in. And then once we did, I got to talk to him. John Gruden actually hit me up about him. Shot me a text. I think they spent some time together during the off season. And so, You can definitely see, though, the coach's kid mentality. He did a great job of calling the plays, having command. I mean, we weren't just out there calling one play. I mean, we were canning plays, 2-play calls. He was handling all that stuff well. So time will tell, but, definitely a good guy to start off.
That's actually Liam Cohen on Seth Hennigan. Let's take a break. Let's reset. We got a lot of moving parts going on here on a Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels. We have Angela Morgan from Wish TV joining us as we go around the AFC South as well, coming up at 12:30. So we'll come back. We'll have that sound on Edgar Bennett from both Liam Cohen, Travis Hunter, plus my conversation with Wyatt Milam, Lauren.
That's right. It's a Big Chief Tire Monday, like you said. WeKeepJacksRollin.com is the website. You will have peace of mind when you get your tires from Big Chief Tire, just like I do. They repair road hazard damage on eligible tires for free. Last time I was there, that's what they did for me. And like I mentioned last week, an oil change is coming up on my car, so I will be there probably this week or next week. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
He's 1010XL's best offensive lineman. Whoa! Sorry, 71. For real? Leon Searcy.
He's just getting his game back.
Afternoons 2 to 4
Tell me they got that in slow motion.
on 1010XL.
Get a healthy start in 2025. The Florida Department of Health in Duval County is here to encourage you to get healthy and stay healthy this year. They have a dedicated team who are committed to providing quality care. The goal is to protect, promote, and improve the health of you and your family. Visit duval.floridahealth.gov to learn more about their health programs and services. That's duval.floridahealth.gov.
The joys of home ownership. Until the plumbing backs up, the AC goes out, or your septic system decides to act up. The good news? You don't have to call 3 different companies when things go wrong. Just call my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. They're your one-stop shop for plumbing, septic, and air conditioning all under one roof. So whether it's a leak, a clog, or your system just won't cool, they've got you covered. Don't take my word for it. Check out their 5-star reviews on Google. From the moment you call to the moment the tech solves your issue, you will get first-class service every step of the way. Give them a ring at 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. One call does it all.
It's May, and that means it's Founders Month here at Sonny's Barbecue. Every Wednesday, we're celebrating with $7 pork big deal served with a sidekick and a drink, or one of our pork and rib combos for just $11. It's our way of saying thanks for letting us be your local pitmasters. So stop in for great deals on the Q you crave. Founders Month specials at Sonny's Barbecue. Local pitmasters since '68.
Chelsea here from Renewal by Anderson. Before you invite family and friends over for summer fun, treat yourself and your home to new windows and doors from Renewal by Anderson. Renewal by Anderson has a great deal to get you started. We're excited to offer our Window of Opportunity Savings Event. Buy 2 windows or patio doors and get the third 60% off. Plus 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Restrictions apply. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation today. License number CGC 1527613.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
A lot goes into taking care of your property. You need equipment with more reliability and versatility built in, like Kubota BX and L Series compact tractors to get the job done right, Z Series mowers that deliver a quality cut, and Sidekick utility vehicles where durability meets speed. Visit Coastal Equipment for a demo today.
Greater power for the great outdoors. Coastal Equipment.
Coastal Equipment on New Kings Road and in McClenny.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
Hey, Hicken here. So much of what makes us a family takes place in our homes. That's where Zero Res comes in. I love Zero Res, and this month get Zero Resified from Jacksonville's #1 carpet and air duct cleaner with May Mayhem. A 3-room special starting at $149 plus the 4th room is free. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean. Call Zero Res 28757 or go online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and say you want the Hicken special. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
I'm Hammer and Hayes Carline, and I've been known to drop an opinion like a 2-ton hammer.
Weekdays on The Frangie Show.
Hammer Time with Hayes on 1010XL. Driven by Southside Kia. Online at southsidekiajacks.com.
Are you struggling with hair loss? At IHRS, we understand because we've been there too. We're dedicated to finding the best solution tailored just for you.
My hair looks great. It was thinning, and IHRS restored my hair.
It's now fuller, it's thicker, voluminous. It's made me feel great.
With the latest technology and FDA-approved laser therapy, PRP, and non-surgical hair addition, we offer guaranteed solutions for men and women.
With over 35 years of experience, IHRS found a hair restoration for us, and we can find one for you.
For me.
For me.
And me too.
Visit hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. Get a free microscopic analysis and get to the root of your problem. This $395 analysis is yours for free. Call 904-777-4477 now.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it and send them a Kuhn floral arrangement. RJ here with 1010XL, and you'll be assured of a quality delivery. That's for sure. Log on and order online at kuhnflowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
I know it ain't all that. Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you on this Big Chief Tire Monday. Taylor Dahl has the week off. All right, Mia, the story certainly around these parts, Travis Hunter, and of course, how much is he going to play on offense? How much is he going to play on defense? And shout out to Travis Hunter for just being a polite human being also, since we saw the story on Facebook of the fact that he was on a flight and was very kind to his passenger that was next to him. And that's, I think, how we would like most people to be, right? Very respectful, polite. And so shout out to Travis and certainly the people that raised him to be that way.
Yeah, the boys on the drill were like, the most humble brag part was that he just introduced himself as Travis.
Sure.
He didn't say his last. I said, no. The most humble brag part is that he's riding commercial and he's in the fourth to last row. Like, what are we doing here? I appreciate it. I appreciate the idea of as long as I'm going to get from point A to point B, it's okay.
Yeah, certainly coming back from Denver because the graduation last week, like you mentioned. All right, so when it comes to Travis Hunter, the wide receiver, Edgar Bennett is a guy who obviously most Jaguars fans are certainly familiar with, and now he's the wide receivers coach. And look, I think Chad Hall did a good job when he was here, but obviously when there's a new head coach, you're going to have those staff changes. And so Edgar Bennett now the wide receivers coach, and Liam Cohen was asked about the relationship with Edgar Bennett and Travis Hunter.
Building camaraderie between the two of those guys is going to be really important. The amount of time that they're obviously being able to spend during this time has been really beneficial. And at the end of the day, it's about relationships. So for him to be able to get relationships with all the coaches, right? But specifically the extra time. And he's the type of guy that puts it in on his own when he is away from the building. And so the more he can do and continue to do that will only benefit us moving forward.
Part of why I wanted to hit this point of the Travis Hunter conversation following the rookie minicamp, Lauren, was that at one point during Saturday's practice, I looked at Gus Logue, and he was apparently feeling the same way that I was, which was we were looking at the wide receivers. It was during a special teams period at practice, and we couldn't find Travis Hunter. And we both looked at each other and thought, oh, my goodness. Is he with the DBs? Have they moved him to the defensive side of the ball already? And then I saw on the far field that he was working one-on-one with Edgar Bennett, which from what I heard from boots on the ground, from season ticket holders who were at Friday's practice, the same thing occurred. Obviously, Travis Hunter is not going to be a member of the coverage team on special teams. I don't anticipate that on kick return, punt return, any of the four phases of special teams. But I am curious, especially once the veterans do get back in the building and integrate with these rookies, I am very curious to see if there is time set aside for Travis to just work with his wide receivers coach one-on-one. That's not to say that he can't have Brian Thomas Jr. and De'Ami Brown with him. I don't anticipate either of those players playing special teams in 2025. I don't think that discludes that conversation, but will we see more of that one-on-one time with Edgar Bennett? I asked Travis Hunter about his relationship with the veteran NFL assistant coach.
When I came here, it was like we hit it off right away. He's been in Green Bay. He taught Devontae Adams. So, just seeing him coach a player like that is just, I know I can learn a lot from him.
Yeah, so Edgar Bennett from Jacksonville, of course, went to Lee High School, went to Florida State, then played for the Packers, and then 2 seasons with the Bears. I think his expertise is going to be fascinating to see Travis, and like we've talked about, he's not yet considered a polished route runner. Someone like Edgar Bennett who knows exactly what has to be done, and that relationship between the quarterback and the receiver, I think that's really important. And certainly Travis is going to have a lot of people pouring information into him because, like you mentioned, he's going to be with the offense. He's going to be with the defense at times too. But that receivers coach, that relationship, your position coaches in college football and the NFL are so critical.
It is funny. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. So Edgar was with the Packers as an assistant coach from 05 to 17, then with the Raiders from 2018 to 2024. Like, he really is the Devontae Adams whisperer. When you I never actually when he said Devontae, I'm like, oh, duh, okay, Packers, Raiders, okay. Like, I didn't think about it,
right.
But he is the common thread. And I don't want to say that Devontae Adams is a potential future Hall of Famer solely because of the tutelage of Bennett, but at the same time, it is when you look at his actual resume, you're like, oh, there's one common thread between those two organizations that he's coached in prior to Jacksonville.
You know what I was thinking about when it comes to Travis Hunter? So we know that the Rams traditionally do not go to the combine as an organization.
Yep.
The Jaguars did this year, but we wonder if in the future they won't.
Mm-hmm.
But the Jaguars didn't have any of those top 30 visits. They only talked to Travis Hunter at the combine. So shouldn't you maybe go to the combine every year in case you do need to have those conversations? If the Jaguars weren't at the combine this year, would they have still drafted Travis Hunter?
I would invite you all, and because I just texted her and all but confirmed she's going to join us later this week. Our friend Jordan Rodrigue, of course, did the Finding Rams series. We've talked to you guys about it. It's on The Athletic, the New York Times website, yada, yada, yada. It was brought to my attention this weekend that back during COVID times in early 2021, Jordan penned another behind-the-scenes exclusive of the Los Angeles Rams and their scouting process. Prior to March of 2020, Les Snead, James Gladstone, J.W. Jordan, who has now allegedly followed Brian Sanders and James Gladstone and is also going to be here in Jacksonville this upcoming season, reportedly. They all had made the decision prior to the world shutting down that they were going to attack the scouting process differently. While, yes, Les Snead and Sean McVay went to the 2020 February Combine, they were there for one day. They were there for media. They did not stay to evaluate players. This is prior to the world being shut down and entering a virtual world. And so the plan was already in place for this idea of, hey, could we be more productive if we send a video crew, we send our medical staff, and they are bringing all the information and all the intel through the technology we have at our fingertips to our scouting staff, to our executive staff, and they don't have to worry about traveling. They don't have to worry about getting on a plane, delays. Okay, you see it with your eyes, but then you got to go back and watch it on tape anyways. Would it be more beneficial to just watch it all on tape twice through in half the amount of time that it takes to get on a plane to go to Indianapolis, get on a plane to go to Mobile for the Senior Bowl? And so get ready, because I don't believe you're going to see a full outfit, and I could be wrong, but at least based off of the personnel who reportedly are following James Gladstone here, and based upon James Gladstone being an integral member of that Rams front office that had made this decision prior to the world going virtual, I don't believe you're going to be seeing a lot of in-person interviews at the Scouting Combine or at the Senior Bowl from the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And I kind of am with you on that, but I just have to wonder, if they weren't at the Combine this year and were able to talk to Travis Hunter in person, would they have made such a bold move to trade from 5 to 2 and certainly give up this year's pick and picks next year?
Yes, because they are going about it in a different way. Again, we'll have Jordan on later this week. We'll talk about it a little bit more. They have had former FBI members on staff for the Los Angeles Rams, if only behind the scene, doing the private investigative reports. They have their scouts, maybe not going to the player themselves at the combine, but meeting with that player at their school, meeting with them in their hometown, meeting with them anywhere between, I think it's like 56 miles or something like that outside of your school or your hometown. It does not have to be reported to the league, and they're going about it a different way. There's still in-person interviews. It may not be James Gladstone and Liam Cohen doing the interviewing. I know for some of you out there, that's a scary prospect. Lauren is included, I think, in that. I think I'm safe in saying that. But ultimately, if it worked in Los Angeles, and if only via the reporting, Les Snead is willingly sending all of those same people where it worked in Los Angeles to Jacksonville to help his young protege, I say you have to trust the process.
And I certainly am not going to go against their philosophies until things go right, until they start losing, basically. And then I'll say, okay, well, maybe you can't do it the Les Snead way. Maybe he's really the genius of all this.
Right.
But for the here and now, yeah, they're going to do it their way. It's just, I do think the combine interview that they had with Travis Hunter played a massive role in them wanting to give up what they did to get him.
I think they would have done it regardless, because the reports on Travis were that was the type of person that he was. I think that they're saying out loud, oh, yeah, we were blown away by it. They would have been blown away by him regardless. They just have that tangible evidence that they can throw out there, that they can actually communicate and be forthright with, because everyone knows who met with who at the combine, because it's available. Off the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures from our friend 910. The NFL Combine is also why the Jaguars drafted Taven Bryan and Caleb Von Chason and who knows who else.
Right. Different general manager, though, so certainly the evaluation process is different. Look, I tweeted out after the draft, or maybe even during, I figured out what intangibly rich means, and that is that you were raised right, that you love the game of football, and that you are a versatile player. Well, Travis Hunter is absolutely all three of those, and we'll figure out what the other rookies or how they fit into that as well. We will talk some Colts on the other side, do a tour of the AFC South this week, and that's coming up next on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 10 to Next on 92.5 FM.
More Jaguars, more Gators, more sports talk for Jacksonville. 1010XL. When you want more.
David Garrard here. I've had the PRP treatment from Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and my knees are really doing well. Platelet-rich plasma treatment may be the answer for whatever is hurting you.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
My son had a meniscus surgery a couple years ago. When it's smooth as silk, Dr. Kevin Murphy did it. Was playing tennis in 2 weeks. This is Patrick Malarkey, and I highly recommend
Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Mike Dempsey, and now's the time to get your roof hurricane ready with Apex Roofing and Contracting of Jacks Beach. Look, our rainy season is no joke, and if your roof's got damage, leaks, or it's just plain worn out, don't wait. Apex is local, dependable, and will show up on time using only premium materials with ironclad warranties. No shortcuts, no stress, just quality work you can trust. Skip the storm season scramble. Reach for the peak with Apex Roofing and Contracting in Jacks Beach, or visit apexroofingfl.com.
Big Chief Tire Monday on helmets and heels.
Hi, folks. It's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass needs around the home, there's one name I trust, Lee and Kate's Glass. Those beautiful custom glass shower enclosures, maybe a new mirror, a glass tabletop. They can even replace your foggy or cracked glass without having to replace the whole window. Lee and Kate's is local. They're family-owned. They've been a part of our community since 1926. Boy, they've taken care of me, including our brand-new offices at Walk-Off Charities. They did a great job. I promise they'll do the same for you. Visit leeandkatesglass.com.
Are you thinking about a pool for your home? Blue Haven Pools is Jacksonville's largest pool builder. They've built pools for over 20,000 satisfied families since 2000. It's never been easier to design the perfect pool for your home, family, and budget. Call Blue Haven Pools today at 904-620-0090 to get a free in-home estimate for your in-ground pool, or visit bluehaven.com. Don't let another summer pass by without a pool. Join thousands of happy Jacksonville pool owners in a Blue Haven pool.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local woman-owned solar company. Did you hear? JEA is raising rates again. With summer right around the corner, those power bills are only going to go up. But with solar, you can take control of energy costs and say goodbye to rising rates. At Clay Solar, we make switching easy and affordable. Stop paying more for power and own it. Visit claysolar.com to schedule a consultation today.
Say
goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Caliber lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit BowdenEye.com for a free screening. Bowden Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On May 12, 2013, at the PGA Players Championship, legendary golfer Tiger Woods wins his second Players Championship and 78th Tour title.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street. Tired of changing out bad sod year after year? Get it done right with Roundtree Sod. Big or small, they have it, and always supplied farm fresh. For a lush, legendary green lawn, call 7414-SOD for a free estimate. 7414-SOD.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I don't see how a new air conditioner is going to work out for me.
Well, you like air conditioning, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. But a new air conditioner could be expensive.
Well, not if you...
I mean, to save up the money, I probably have to give up my extra hot skim latte every morning. Now I fall asleep during a staff meeting, get volunteered for the summer picnic committee, and end up sitting in the dunk tank all afternoon getting water up my nose.
Okay, look at it this way. Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Bueller Air and Plumbing puts in a new AC. We hook you up with affordable financing, and you stay cool and comfortable for just $149 a month. Cool?
Cool. I see it now.
Life can be hard on your budget. If you suffer through the heat because of a broken AC you could totally afford to replace, you could visit.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Need a fast casual option that's healthy, fresh, and delicious? Choose the Great Greek Mediterranean Grill. Gyros, salads, hummus, and more made completely fresh right as you order. Off 210 in St. John's Parkway. The Great Greek Mediterranean Grill.
It's Work Zone Awareness Week, Florida. Every year, lives are lost in work zones because of speeding and distractions. When you see orange cones, remember, slow down, follow the signs, and stay focused. Workers are counting on you to get home safely, and so are their families. Let's work together to prevent crashes and save lives. A safety reminder from the Florida Department of Transportation. Slow your roll. Safety's the goal.
ET here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, you have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits. You have the right to choose your own doctor, too. And I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation, the auto accident experts.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
We go together. Our tour of the AFC South begins in earnest with our friend Angela Morian of Wish TV up in Indianapolis. So excited to pick her brain not only about the states of the Indianapolis Colts. We may sneak a Pacers and, dare I say, an Indiana Fever question in there. Angela, we really appreciate you hopping on with us on a Monday, not only because perfect timing with our schedule of guests this week, but also because I know you've taken up a second residence in terms of the IndyCar racing scene. Tell us a little bit about what you got cooking this week before we dive into the Colts.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me on again, ladies. I love joining the fun here on the show. But yeah, it's full Pacers and Racers. That's what we call it right now with the Pacers in the playoffs in month of May, because usually what we've kind of been used to in recent history is just being over at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway ahead of the Indy 500. For those who don't follow IndyCar, there's actually two races. So we just had one on Saturday. So the teams move in for 3 weeks at the track, and they live inside the track. So that means we live in the track too. And we just stay over there and we talk racing every day, all day, in preparation for the Indy 500. But when the Pacers are doing so well, like they did last year, now this year, we mix that in as well. So this city is buzzing right now. It's hard to believe that the Colts are taking a back seat to racing and basketball, but that's how it feels right now in month of May in Indy.
Which is why I was fully expecting you to not answer my text this morning for like 3 hours. I'm like, I know it's her day off. I know she's resting up for another wild go round of racing this week, as well as the Pacers. But also, Angela, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this also helps the sports fan scene out there in Indianapolis and the rest of the country be detracted from the incoming quarterback battle between Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, does it not?
Yeah. We don't need to talk about that. No, I'm just kidding. We still have no answer on what is actually going to be coming for us. OTAs, in a couple weeks, but more so for training camp, just with, that's going to be the main point of topic when we get through Pacers playoffs and the 500, no doubt for sure, because there's still so many questions. The Colts have said repeatedly it's a true competition. Daniel Jones has a legitimate chance to be the Colts starter at the start of the season. But this is the problem, Mia. This is the problem. You can't bring in competition and expect either of these guys to fully grow when they have to split starting snaps during the offseason. So it's like it's this horrible cycle of you need the reps, but you need the competition. So we don't really know what to expect out of OTAs or training camp when it comes to the quarterback position. And the other players in the locker room have said that too. Alec Pierce, one of the wide receivers, he said, it's tough building a chemistry with Daniel Jones just because he's going to get half the reps that they need. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out and to see how Shane Steichen and the rest of the staff figure out how to choose who's going to be the starter for this season. I would not be surprised, let's say this, that we'll have a starter for week 1 and he won't be the starter the whole season. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that certainly wouldn't surprise me either, Angela. Let's talk about a guy who, it really doesn't matter who's starting at quarterback. They're going to be throwing the ball to Tyler Warren. How did he look?
Tyler Warren is as advertised. I think this is the most exciting thing for the Colts in recent history is getting a tight end like him. The Colts have been starved for a playmaking tight end just like Warren for years. They love the tight ends. Chris Ballard, the general manager, he loves tight ends. I think they had 6 on the 53-man roster last year, but none of them were those big splash play guys that could really make a difference offensively outside of just blocking or whatever. But Tyler Warren brings that to the Colts. He's big. His hands are big. He can make plays. He can throw the ball. I mean, this guy can literally do everything. Steichen actually said a couple weeks ago after the draft, he's like, he can block, he can catch the ball, he can score a touchdown, and he said, hell, we might even play him on defense. So that's just how this Colts staff is viewing the asset that they have in Tyler Warren. And he will be wearing number 84 for those who care. He was 44 in his whole career, but Zaire Franklin, the captain and linebacker, has 44. And Warren said, I really didn't even ask him. Like, I know that that's his number. I didn't really have a leg to stand on, which I think shows a ton of maturity and just how much of a team player he's going to be to not even come into the Colts and be like, okay, I was a first-round pick. I need this number. So I really appreciated that out of Warren, too.
I'm honestly stunned that, we haven't had to have Dallas Clark involved in the conversation surrounding the number 44, because seemingly we got to reach out to everybody who ever wore the number before we can actually give it to a player in 2025.
Yeah, that's literally what's happening at all around with the teams. I've seen that with the Giants, too. I'm like, can we just leave numbers retired, please? Just pick another number.
I mean, the concern with the Colts, Angela, is obviously, Jim Harbaugh's in the Ring of Honor. I know his number's not necessarily retired, but I digress. Angela Morian of Wish TV is our guest on the Checkmate Coatings hotline. You brought up Chris Ballard. The hot seat, the leash, when it comes to both Ballard, now in his 9th season, and of course, he has less AFC South titles to show for it than one Dave Caldwell or one Trent Baalke, both departed general managers of the Jacksonville Jaguars. How long is that leash? Does Shane Steichen get a little bit more leeway because he's newer to the party?
I think they're a package deal. I do. And this is a make or break season for the two of them and Anthony Richardson, period. That's how I view it. If this team I don't think the threshold is winning the AFC South. I truly don't. I think the threshold is getting to the playoffs. If this team doesn't get to the playoffs and misses out again, another 9-8 season or something, I think they're all three of them are gone. I truly do. It depends on how gracious and patient owner Jim Irsay is feeling in the moment, I guess, because everything runs through him. But you have to believe Chris Ballard has used up all of his 9 lives. I mean, he's a cat. He's had 9 lives here in Indy, and at some point that has to end if the Colts cannot figure out what they're going to do and make the playoffs. This team is a shell of what it used to be with Peyton Manning, even Andrew Luck. This is a franchise that's used to winning. This is a franchise that came into a basketball state and flipped it to football, all because of Peyton Manning, and then continued with Andrew Luck. And now they're taking a back seat. And that just can't happen with an NFL team. So this front office needs to figure it out and pray that something with the quarterback situation materializes that will be successful. That's where it's going to start and end. Because if Ballard put all his money on Anthony Richardson and he just falls flat for a third season, whether it's injuries, whether it's, mental toughness or whatever you want to call it, if he falls flat again, you have to answer to that. You just have to answer to it. And I like Chris. I like Chris Ballard. I think he's a fine GM. This Tyler Warren pick was great. I think it came with a lot of luck, too, just with how low the Colts are picking. But you have to start winning. You just have to. You have to make the playoffs. It's been too long. You've been too close too many times. Excuses have to stop. They just have to stop. You have to be held accountable, and this season has to be the year.
Speaking of quarterbacks, the Colts also drafted Riley Leonard in the 6th round. Do you think that he could get into this quarterback competition as well?
I don't know. We joke about this in the office all the time. I don't know if he's necessarily in the mix in terms of the competition. But we also wouldn't be surprised if we saw him on the field during the season. I mean, you think back to 3 seasons ago, the Matt Ryan year, where it was him and Nick Foles and Sam Ellinger and the quarterback carousel once again. I think Colts fans would hope they never have to see Riley Leonard on the field because that would mean that was really bad for Richardson and Jones. But I wouldn't be surprised if he did get a little action, just, assuming that there might be some injuries or something. Leonard was a good quarterback at Notre Dame, but he struggles with the same things that Anthony Richardson does. Accuracy, passing, he's mobile but less mobile than Richardson, but he's less accurate than Daniel Jones, and that's not saying much either. So I don't know how much he really is going to move the needle. He'll be, solid enough to be a third quarterback for when they have to carry that into the season. But I don't know how much he's actually going to, get a play in that competition per se.
Let's just say it out loud, Angela. Lauren's looking at me because she knows I've been saying it on air for weeks. The Colts went out and they got the metaphorical love child, both physically and metaphorically, actually, between Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. You smush the two players together and you get Riley Leonard. And
that's true. That's so true.
The world that we live in. I do want to sneak in a couple basketball questions. And so for the sake of time, let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball. A couple of free agent Band-Aid fixes, if you may, in the second half of their careers between Charvarius Ward, Cam Bynum. Did the Colts do enough to fix a secondary that has been questionable the last few years and perhaps even their Achilles heel?
I really like those two gets in free agency. I think that's going to help a lot for this Colts defense, and bringing in Lou Anarumo as the new defensive coordinator. I haven't, I'm a little on the fence about Anarumo, I'm not going to lie, because he was kind of the Achilles heel of the Bengals last season and, didn't help Joe Burrow out at all with how terrible their defense was. But I do like these pieces that Ballard has brought in. The Colts are expecting to get Samson Ebukam back, the edge rusher who was the sack leader 2 years ago, ruptured his Achilles in training camp last year and missed the whole season. That will be telling if he can return. I think Leatu Latu, the first-round pick from last year, another edge rusher, if he can, show some improvements and maturity. He was great last year, but, just second-year growth. This Colts defense can be dangerous. I think there's still a lot of questions in that secondary, but those free agents certainly help a lot. Bringing experience, too. That's the key. I think the Colts secondary, besides Kenny, take Kenny Moore out of it, the average experience level was 2 years last year. I mean, that's insane. So bringing in these two experienced players that know how to win, have been on winning teams, have dealt with the spotlight too, both of them with their stories, I think that will really help this locker room a lot if they can mesh into what's already been established there in Indy.
Mia wants to ask a basketball question, Angela, so I'll ask a spin-off of a basketball question. Who right now is the most popular athlete in the city of Indianapolis?
Good segue.
Oh,
Good
that's
segue.
tough. Oh, that is tough.
Can you confirm, Angela, is it true that Caitlin Clark called into the Pacers postgame show yesterday? I saw the clip this morning.
Did.
That's iconic.
Yes, she did.
Iconic.
She called in. And the Pacers have not lost a playoff game when she's in attendance at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So I think, Lauren, the answer to your question, I think it's Caitlin Clark. It has to be Caitlin Clark. I think she's one of the most popular athletes, period, not just in Indianapolis. But it's got to be her. I think Tyrese Halliburton has really cemented himself in popularity here. We've had a little bit of controversy recently with him the last couple games. But Tyrese has been huge for bringing this Pacers franchise back into the forefront of people's minds and filling up the field house every night. So I think right now it's those two. If the Colts had a firm quarterback, I think it would be Caitlin Clark and then the Colts quarterback. But because we have no idea who that is, I think that's a little bit of a struggle right now. But yeah, it's hard to top Caitlin, which is music to Mia's ears. I know.
But also it is, but truly what you just said, Angela, that is the ultimate indictment on what the Colts have done over the last decade, that they've been in quarterback purgatory. You just have to be a top 15, top 20 starter in the National Football League as the starting quarterback for the Colts to earn the respect of the fans in Indianapolis, to usurp Tyrese Halliburton, Mr. Most Overrated, but oh wait, look what he's done in the postseason.
Yes.
And the Colts can't even clear that bar.
Yep. You're exactly right. That sums up the Colts in a nutshell. I mean, this fan base doesn't know what quarterback to root for because they've had a different starter since Andrew Luck retired abruptly, and now they have, quote unquote, a firm starter in Anthony Richardson, but he's not even that. We don't even know if that's going to happen.
Right.
So yeah, it's hard for this fan base to get behind anybody on the Colts team right now. They don't have a face of the franchise outside of maybe Jonathan Taylor or Zaire Franklin, and I don't think the rest of the league knows who Zaire Franklin really is if you're not in Indy.
Yeah, but Jags people do, but yeah.
AFC South, right, exactly. But no, I agree.
Yes.
I agree with the sentiment 100%, Angela.
AR, by the way, underwent anesthesia to get a 7-hour tattoo. So I also don't think that that's helping the public perception.
No, and it's a struggle because AR is very much a man of the people. Like when he first got here, he was stopping on the side of the road to help people change tires, and he's showing up to birthday parties, and he is that guy, very down to earth guy. It's just I just truly think he needed another year at Florida. I do. He needed to stay in. He had that, the whoa, look at this raw talent and what he had at the combine, and that got everybody's attention. But he needed another year at Florida. You needed a little bit more starts in the SEC before you jumped into the NFL. But we've discussed that ad nauseum. Yeah. So you had a basketball question.
Yes. We'll finally get to the basketball question after a foray. This is actually a very good way of tying it all together. But let me ask you this. The Pacers win this series against the Cavs. The Pacers win the Eastern Conference Finals and advance to the NBA Finals, Angela. You can't say Tyrese Halliburton if blank.
You can't say that he's, well, ugh.
Or it has to be Tyrese. This team is just going to go as Tyrese goes.
Yes. Yeah. You can't, here's my thing. 3 games ago, after game 2 in Cleveland, I would answer that question. You can't say Tyrese Halliburton is overrated. You just can't. Then he comes out game 3 and has 4 points and then refuses to talk to the media. Well, excuse me, Pacers PR did not make him available to the media.
We love it.
So I love Tyrese. I love Tyrese. Big Tyrese fan. But you can't do that. You can't say overrate that and then not, show up on the floor or post game in the media. So Tyrese is a roller coaster, just like this Pacers team is a roller coaster. Yes, the Pacers' success runs through Tyrese. However, this Pacers team makes their money off their depth, off their versatility, off their pace, all of which takes the entire team outside of Tyrese. This team can win with Tyrese having an off night. We saw it last night. They dominated. We're up 41 at half, and Tyrese only finished the game with 11 points. So he has to have an okay day for them to win. He doesn't have to be fantastic like Donovan Mitchell, but he can't have 4 points. So the Pacers have a legitimate chance. Obviously, they're up 3-1 to beat the Cavs. I would be surprised if it happened tomorrow in Game 5. I think it might be in Game 6 back here at the Fieldhouse. But you have to, keep that consistency. You have to keep that rolling. And this team has a chance to do it. Here's my thing. This is my biggest thing. If they make the Eastern Conference Finals, which is looking like it will, we will have a Eastern Conference Finals game in Gainbridge Fieldhouse in downtown Indianapolis the night of the Indianapolis 500.
Wow.
And that is going to be insane. It's happened before, but it's been over a decade, and it was back in the Reggie Miller era, I believe. I'd have to check that. But the same day, 330,000 people are going to be in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the afternoon, and then presumably 20,000 in the field house. They'll just pack their coolers up, and walk on over to the field house for an Eastern Conference Finals game, which would be absolutely epic for this city, for sure.
That, coupled with the Indiana Fever beginning the regular season on Saturday, is why we can't thank you enough for giving us 20 minutes. We know you need to rest up for this stretch run. Remind the folks, Angela, what else you got cooking at Wish TV the rest of the week?
Oh, boy, we got everything cooking. Fever on Saturday. We'll be in Cleveland. I won't be, but our team will be in Cleveland if you guys want to follow along for a super exciting Pacers team tomorrow. And, it's just a whole lot of racers and Pacers fun here in Indy, and we love it. There's to be honest, there are fewer cities that treat sports and have the excitement of sports as Indianapolis, and you got to love it. You got to love it.
Thank you, Angela. We so appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Have a great one.
You as well.
Are the best. And, of course, you can find Angela and all of her work as well.
You as well.
Are the best. And work as well as the wonderful team at Wish at Angela Moryan TV. That's ANGELA MORYAN TV on X.
And by the way, the reason Anthony Richardson didn't return to Florida for another year, because the advice he got was accurate. He was going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft. You leave. It doesn't matter.
Ask Carson Beck how that's working out for him.
Right. It doesn't matter if you're going to succeed at the next level in your mind in that moment. You are going because, Quinn Ewers is another example. Sometimes if you don't enter the draft when your stock is high, you may not have the same, selection when it comes to the NFL draft the next year. All right, we've got more to do on the other side. I want to let you hear a little bit from Tony Vaselli, but also go around the NFL. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. Find them online at wekeepjacksrollin.com. You will see over 7,600 5-star reviews, and they are there for a reason because Big Chief will treat you like family. It's 1010X on 92.5 FM.
Your radio highlight reel.
Caught for the touchdown.
1010XL, home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save 15% on roof replacements and repairs now through May 31st. Financing is available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Lauren Brooks here for Novus Glass of Jacksonville. We've all had to deal with a cracked windshield. Next time, go to a local company to get your windshield repaired for free at Novus Glass. And now Novus Glass is the only place in Jacksonville where you can get Turbo Tint. Turbo Tint will improve your energy efficiency, increase privacy, and enhance your car and building. Turbo Tint blocks up to 99% of harmful UV rays, so all of us Floridians need Turbo Tint, and Novus Glass is the only place you can get it. Book today at orangepark.turbotint.com. That's orangepark.turbotint.com.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Got a leaky faucet? AC blowing hot air? No worries. Duck Rooter has your back. Call 904-862-6769 or visit duckduckrooter.com. Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, AC, and a whole lot of quacking good service.
It's a Helmets and Heels Big Chief Tire Monday. Keep your ride summer road trip ready with parts, tools, and accessories from Summit Racing. We have what you need for pre-trip maintenance, plus essentials like emergency roadside kits, tire inflators, jumper cables, boost jump starters, tool sets, and a whole lot more. So hit the highways or take the roads less traveled with confidence. Shop summitracing.com. Use promo code RADIO for $10 off an order of $100 or more. Exclusions apply. Offer ends May 25th, 2025. SummitRacing.com. Let's build it together.
Hi, I'm Malcolm Anthony. Have you been charged with a crime? You don't have to face it alone. I'm here for you. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me. 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW in the 904.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Come in, Linda. Over.
We've got a sea of new vehicles and they're priced so low they're rocking the boat. Come check out our biggest selection of inventory with prices that don't break the bank and our wow ya experience that will ensure smooth sailing for your next car purchase. Plus, take advantage of our peace of mind warranties, transparent pricing to provide you with a peace of mind. You better beat the surge and head to the all-new Beaver Toyota or Chevrolet for the car buying experience you deserve.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Hey gang, Prosser here, and it's always great when you can replace a problem with a promise. And let me get right down to it. When it comes to Chad and Sandy and selling your home, here's a promise that you can count on. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Now, more. Spring selling season is here. Rates are down. Activity's up. Now's the best time in years to sell your home. Some homes are sitting on the market, though, and hiring an expert who can maximize your equity and minimize hassle is the key. Those expert agents, and I'm recommending them to sell your home, Chad and Sandy Newman. There have been lots of you out there on the First Coast who are taking advantage. Take David and Heather in Fox Ridge. This is out in Orange Park. We wanted to move to Keystone Heights to get closer to family, away from the city. We heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. What you hear is true. We got multiple offers and sold in 3 days for $15,000 above asking price. Call the local experts I trust and recommend to sell my home and yours. Call Chad and Sandy, 414-6200. ChadAndSandy.com.
Are you ready to play this summer? At the First Coast YMCA, we're committed to being your home for health and wellness and a place for friendly competition with team sports for adults and for kids. Basketball, volleyball, pickleball, flag football, soccer. The Y has something for everyone at any age. Discover all the benefits of YMCA membership and find your fun this summer at the Y. Registration for team sports and summer camps is open now. Visit fcymca.org. New and pre-owned firearms are in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimber, Smith & Wesson, 6 Hour, Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Only at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
2 classic albums, 1 night of hits. Styx presents The Grand Illusion. Kevin Cronin Band presents REO Speedwagon's High Infidelity. June 2nd, Daly's Place. Brotherhood of Rock Tour.
plus Don Felder, formerly of the Eagles. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. 2 classic albums in their entirety. Styx, The Grand Illusion, REO Speedwagons, High Infidelity. Don't miss the event of the summer.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Lone Pronto. Sporting Club Jacksonville, the United Soccer League's Northeast Florida expansion franchise, will collaborate with Adidas to unveil its highly anticipated inaugural uniforms at a fan-free fest tomorrow at the newly renovated Friendship Fountain in downtown Jacksonville. Hosted by Sporting Jacks in partnership with the City of Jacksonville and PRI Productions, the landmark event will kick off for the unofficial unveiling at 5 p.m., followed by the Fan Fest from 6 to 8 p.m. at Friendship Fountain, illuminated in bold Sporting Jacks colors. Fans will get an exclusive look at the club's brand new USLW League and League Two home and away kits during a high-energy runway show featuring Sporting Jacks players modeling the fresh Adidas designs on stage, also featuring live music, food sampling, beer tasting, giveaways, and more. It's 78 degrees at 104. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Mia O'Brien, RJ Saunders. I'm Lauren Brooks with you. Taylor Dahl has the week off. We were just chatting some Colts and some Indianapolis Pacers. By the way, open gym all week long.
Yeah.
Rick Lou on vacation, 8 to 10. Hacker moves up, and then RJ Saunders will have open gym for all you NBA junkies.
And not
every
just
night this
NBA
week.
either. He's going to hit all the sports.
On Wednesday, RJ will be on live when the schedule release is out by the NFL. So that's exciting stuff as well. So make sure you tune into that. All right, I want to go around the NFL here. Mia, Trey Hendrickson says no communication has taken place between his camp and the Bengals post-draft. So could that really good defensive end end up somewhere else? Obviously, the Bengals have made it a priority to pay Joe Burrow and the 2 receivers, and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
Right, and knowing how much those 3 players not just count against the cap, but the percentage of the salary cap that they occupy, it's going to be very difficult for Cincinnati to pay not just Trey Hendrickson, but any other emerging star that comes along in the next 3 to 5 years. And ultimately, I believe there is a market out there for Trey Hendrickson, who, despite a defense that was bottom 10 in the National Football League last year, continued to lead the league in sacks and continues to grow as a player year over year and has taken his game to another level since arriving in Cincinnati. I think it's going to be interesting, especially after Angela's comments, which I agree. I'm very fascinated to see Lou Anarumo, how he fits in Indianapolis. If he really was, maybe he just kind of, it got dry, it got stale.
I'm so glad I'm not a Colts fan for so many reasons. And nothing against the organization.
Yeah.
It certainly has a rich history.
Right.
But your quarterback competition, like we discussed, Anthony Richardson, who, of course, I watched every snap of him play at Florida. And he's a guy that works really hard. He's a superstar of an athlete. He just never quite got the full quarterback position, handled. And then you've got Daniel Jones. No offense, I don't think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback whatsoever. And then they bring in the Bengals defensive coordinator,
who just got fired.
Who was fired because the Bengals defense was atrocious. What are you giving Colts fans besides Tyler Warren all that to be excited about? Which is why I do wonder if Riley Leonard, the 6th-round pick, certainly from Notre Dame, and who played in the national championship against Ohio State, I wonder if somehow, some way, he ends up taking some snaps.
Oh, I think Angela's right. I think he's going to play at some point in time. But back to Trey Hendrickson, I'm curious to see, is it the chicken or the egg? Was it Lou Anarumo? Do they actually believe in the pieces? Because don't forget, not only do the Bengals pay Trey Hendrickson handsomely once upon a time in free agency to bring him up from New Orleans, but additionally, they have spent first-round pick after first-round pick over the last 4 to 5 years on the defensive side of the ball. The latest, Shamar Stewart, who is an absolute project out of Texas A&M. The sack production, Trayvon Walker had more sack production at the University of Georgia, and obviously there's a critique to be had about his college career and where he was drafted. And so I am fascinated to see this chicken or the egg question when it comes to the Bengals defense. Maybe Trey Hendrickson has already seen the writing on the wall.
Yeah, he basically says the Bengals aren't communicating whatsoever. I don't think that's the right way to go about things. I think you still need to communicate with the player and keep them apprised of what your thoughts are.
It's a franchise that historically, and this was certainly the critique before Joe Burrow got paid, they are cheap, they never pay their own, they will never pay top of the line money. And are we going back to that just months removed from the Jamar Chase, T. Higgins conversation of would they be able to keep both players?
Over the weekend, Saints quarterback, now former Saints quarterback Derek Carr.
Hold on. RJ, we need like a chorus of angels or something for Lauren. Or a celebration or something like that.
I'm not celebrating. I'm never going to celebrate when someone medically retires from the NFL, which is what Derek Carr announced over the weekend. We knew that he had the shoulder injury. I've never rooted against Derek Carr. It just goes back to when I was in Denver. I was having a conversation. My cousin and I were talking to some there was a Denver fan or a Broncos fan. There was a Raiders fan. It was just a conglomeration of guys there for like a bachelor party. And we're sitting there chatting about football. And right after we knew that Derek Carr was going to Las Vegas, obviously still with the Raiders, but the team was moving. I just said, I'm sorry, but Derek Carr's a terrible quarterback. And he was like, no, he's not. He's great. And now Devontae Adams is coming and everything's going to go according to plan. And I was like, I'm just here to tell you Derek Carr's not a good quarterback. So I've never rooted against him. It's just I never thought he was any good because that was the year that Gardner Minshew and the Jaguars beat the then Oakland Raiders, the very last game ever in Oakland before they moved to Vegas. And I just thought he's not very good. And so ever since then, now there's a stigma that I hate Derek Carr, and that's not accurate. It's just he's now out of the NFL.
We've been freed. Our long national nightmare has come to an end. Derek Carr has made a decision, and he's out of the National Football League.
Look, I feel bad for he and his brother. Just, the NFL, certainly Derek Carr had a much better career than David Carr, but the NFL just hasn't been kind in the last few years. And so Derek Carr and the Raiders, they split. The story came out that his wife was crying, Derek Carr's wife. She thought the fans were too mean to him. And then he goes to the Saints, and I feel bad for Saints fans at that point in time because, again, his career was pretty much over. By the way, now the Saints quarterback room, Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener.
You got nothing on them, Cleveland. Check out the Saints quarterback room.
Tyler Shuck seems like he's going to be penciled in as the starter for the here and now.
I mean, he's got an opportunity to win the job. I do think Spencer Rattler, with a year under his belt, will also certainly be in the competition. Sorry, Jake Haener. But yeah, I mean, if only in where they were drafted and who they were drafted by, because Spencer Rattler was drafted by a previous administration, albeit by administration, I mean a different coaching staff, because the folks up at the top in the front office remain the same. It would suggest Tyler Shuck. I would think that Rattler will battle with Shuck, but we'll see because, not exactly, it's not what you want if you're Kellen Moore and company. How about this comp, Lauren? Derek Carr made over $205 million when it's all said and done.
Yep, the first thing I did was Google his career earnings.
45.5% career winning percentage. One trip to the playoffs. One and done. The 9th most cash over the last 10 years of any player in the National Football League.
I'm surprised that it's that much just because we've seen these mega deals as of late, and he got a 125 to go to the Saints, 125 million, of course that is. But we've seen obviously the Burrow, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, these deals of over $250 million now. Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, all those guys are in that much larger chunk of change. So I wouldn't be surprised if in 2 years, if Derek Carr's way farther down.
Well, my comp is Kirk Cousins, who has made over $294 million in his career.
Cha-ching.
At least a little bit more of a playoff resume, maybe, possibly, to show for it. But yeah, it's
for sure.
Credit to him. Credit to him. If you can make that money. I'm jealous. I wish I had it.
Well, when it comes to Mason Taylor, we had the conversation, it was either Thursday or Friday, about jersey numbers.
Yeah.
And Mason Taylor, you said he was going to wear 46. And I was like, that seems like an odd number for a tight end. And then we jokingly said, he'll probably change it the next time we have this conversation. Well, he did. He and the Jets changed his number already from 46 now to 85.
Yeah, shout out to our friend Will Parkinson from Badlands, Turn on the Jets, and the All 32 podcast for breaking that news. It's, I don't know, like, I think it was blown much more out of proportion. I would like to believe, and again, Mason Taylor was in my top 32 big board overall. I would like to believe, much like Tyler Warren, he would have just worn whatever you told him to wear. It didn't have to be about, well, I'm going to be a premier player and I'm a premier draft pick and my dad wore this number and I wore this number in college. No, I don't believe it was that dramatic.
46 is just an odd number for a tight end. Like you would expect.
George Kittle wore it at Iowa. Fun facts. So yeah, if you go back.
College is a little different. Also in the NFL, we now know the first game of the 2025 season. The game will kick off Thursday, September 4th in Philadelphia as the Eagles play host to the Cowboys. Talk about fireworks for the very first first game of the season.
Yes, the content factory that is the Dallas Cowboys and Nick Sirianni squaring off at Lincoln Financial Field. Sign me up. Also, it'll be very nice to have a team not named the Kansas City Chiefs hosting on opening night for the first time in quite some time.
Yes, for sure. I want to let you hear from Jaguars Executive Vice President Tony Baselli on the other side. He joined Jaguars today this morning. And also, we have our Terminix Pest of the Day. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on a Big Chief Tire Monday. You can find them at wekeepjacksrollin.com. They'll take care of your car and all of your automotive needs like they do for me. It's 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
1010XL is your hometown team.
Everything's a challenge. Through adversity to the stars. From the last minute to the last man, we fight. We fight. We fight. We fight. We fight. We fight.
1010XL, where sports fans get together.
Call 904-500-COOL. Ideal conditions.
Want to support a locally and veteran-owned company? If you need a new AC, we should be your first and only call. Ideal Conditions keeps you cool. Just ask your AC. Call 904-500-COOL or visit idealconditionsjacks.com.
Call 904-500-COOL.
Honk if you see us. Call for service.
Ideal Conditions.
Idealconditionsjacks.com.
Mia here for Closets by Design. It's been a few months since they built my custom closet organization system, and I cannot say enough about how happy I am with it. You know, people typically start and end their day by visiting their closet, so shouldn't that space give you a feeling of peace and efficiency? That's why Closets by Design specializes in custom builds in every budget to fit your lifestyle. Call them to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. That's Closets by Design, 1-800-293-3744.
Enhance your home with Renewal by Anderson's superior craftsmanship and timeless design. Right now, buy 2 windows or patio doors and get the third at 60% off. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires May 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Been in a car crash? I'm local attorney Rick Alexander, and I've made it our mission at the Alexander Law Practice to listen to you so I can fight for the best possible result for you. I've been practicing over 30 years, and our team focuses on guiding you through the entire process. And because fees and reimbursement costs come out at the end of the case, I will never ask you to come out of pocket. For a free review, call 904-400-6600 or log on to alexanderlawpractice.com, Jacksonville.
Calling all poker enthusiasts. The Poker Atlas Tour is bringing 7 action-packed poker events to Best Bet St. Augustine, June 5th to June 15th, including Event 1, a $300 no-limit hold'em tournament featuring a $100,000 guarantee, and the $600 no-limit hold'em title event with a $200,000 guarantee. Satellites are happening now at Best Bet St. Augustine. For tournament structures and all the details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Helmets and Heels.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday. The local Jacksonville shop for fair prices and service you can trust.
Your yard starting to look a little like a jungle? Well, it might be time for a little TLC. Or how about RTC, Russell Tree Care? At Russell Tree Care, they give your trees the perfect haircut. Whether it's trimming or removing, they'll make sure your yard looks its best, all while keeping safety as a top priority. Call Russell Tree Care today and let them take care of your trees. Russell Tree Care, 844-4Mr. Wood. That's 844-467-9663. Or visit RussellTreeCareLLC.com today. Your trees will thank you.
Yo, this is Tony from Tony D's. Are you looking for a great slice of pizza? Well, we have about 12 varieties. Most places won't have slices of pizza after lunch. At Tony D's, you can get a slice all day. It's always fresh at Tony D's Pizza. Bay Meadows and 295.
Hacker here with an opportunity. Drop 40 pounds by the 4th. You can do it. I dropped my first 40 in 6 weeks. Hayes did it, Dempsey, Ballou, and thousands of others have done it. 40 by the 4th. With Awaken180weightloss.com.
It's 1010XL's You Pick'em contest.
The PGA Championship.
Locked down by Pella Windows and Doors.
Good looking shot here.
You could win $1,000 of jewelry from Beard's Diamonds.
So what happens now?
Enter at 1010XL.com.
Spring has sprung, and so have the bugs. It's Hayes Carline, and my friends at Kingfish Pest Control offer an exclusive $99 spring special. That's right, your initial pest control service is just $99. And if you call today, they'll include a free one-time mosquito treatment. Kingfish Pest Control is family-owned, 5-star rated with no binding contracts, and 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Call them now to book your service. Only at Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning, then deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah.
2 locations in Jacksonville.
1010XL is 555 Jacksonville.
I like my water with lemon and lime. That's cause they're better combined. Kinda like us, you and I. If you were fruit, you'd be a fine apple. If you were words, you'd be defined.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels on this Big Chief Tire Monday. I feel like on Mondays, it's like, oh no, the beginning of another work week. I'm very happy on this Monday. I don't know if it's because we had football over the weekend, even if I couldn't attend in person, or if it's because we have so many other sports going on. I want to talk about the UNF softball team winning the ASUN championship on Saturday night, and certainly the Florida baseball team, the Florida State baseball team. So many teams in this area are performing beyond expectations, so we'll get to that in the last segment. But before that, it is time for the Terminix Pest of the Day. If you have any sort of pest issues or termite issues, make sure you contact Terminix. You can find them online at Terminix.com. That's TERMINIX.com, or they can come to your house and do what they did for us, and that is treat our yard for mosquitoes to make sure that we don't have any of those annoying mosquitoes this summer. All right, so the pest of the day, Mia, is going to be the Colorado Rockies. They fired manager Bud Black yesterday after losing by 21 runs to the Padres.
21-0.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah,
21. Just make sure they didn't score a run. This wasn't 21 to 17 or something. No, 21-0.
They lost, by 21 runs to the Padres at Coors Field. Lost 21-0. Were shut out. I don't blame Bud Black for this. I understand at times you have to fire people. I get that. But this, to me, seems like you have a roster that's completely devoid of talent. This is not a Major League Baseball roster. You don't lose 21-0 and say, yeah, it was all the manager's fault, right? And they are off to a Major League worst 7-33 start. So, look, that's a bad baseball team, and I feel bad for Bud Black, but honestly, he's probably happier today because he doesn't have to deal with this team who might end up losing more games than the White Sox did last year.
Yeah, and I mean, part of it, too, is you look at who their big free agent money acquisitions were the last 2 off seasons, whether that be Chris Bryant or, Estrada or Toba. Like, you go right down the line, and all of their quote-unquote big money signings just have not hit. And you couple that with a farm system that evidently is barren and was banking on the altitude that you can use to your advantage at Mile High at Coors Field, and here we are. And I don't want to say let's play the game that everyone in Duval loves of a real or a fake Jag, but you could probably play that game with the Rockies roster with regards to, are you actually a Major League Baseball player or an accountant? Because a lot of these names are not household names. I mean, is Ryan McMahon like their biggest superstar right now, like in the starting lineup? Like, I mean, you could make that argument.
I don't think they have any superstars.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because this was once a very proud franchise. And in regards to Bud Black, too, it's just this question of, is it really on him when these are the players that he was given? But number 2, he's also been in power up until this weekend for, since 2017. So he's obviously been somewhat involved in the decision-making that's gone into it. This is a team that not too long ago was competing for NLCS World Series championships. I know it wasn't exactly like, some long-term history, but the Rockies have been competitive in the last 20 years. I don't know where it went wrong, but they haven't done anything to rectify it.
Speaking of baseball, by the way, I did see that Evan Longoria, who did not play last season, but he also did not retire, he will retire as a Ray in a pregame ceremony on June 7th. So for people who follow along with baseball, certainly they know Evan Longoria was probably the best Rays player in history until maybe Blake Snell was there, but he will end up retiring as a Ray.
And yes, I did want to just quick asterisk note, the Rockies in Bud Black's first season lost in the wild card round. Then they lost the next year in the NLDS, won 87 and 91 games. The most games they have won since then, 74 in 2021. The enemy of great is good, folks.
Let's get it back to the Jaguars rookie minicamp that occurred over the weekend, Mia. All right, so we talked a ton about Travis Hunter, and we expect him to certainly play wide receiver. We expect him to play corner. We don't expect him to play much special teams at all. But he's a guy that certainly this franchise is going to pour a lot into. Let's talk about Caleb Ransaw, a guy we haven't mentioned yet on the show today. What did you see out of him?
Well, if you ask Coach Campo, they stuck the DBs pretty far away from us. So unfortunately, we didn't get to see a whole heck of a lot. And when he did come over to Field 1, because it was when they were doing the team portion of practice, it wasn't like there was a lot of live tackling or anything like that. But certainly the speed, and that's been a calling card for him throughout his career. Mm-hmm. And this idea of he would be the second fastest safety, if only by 40-yard dash speed in the NFL in the last 10 years if he starts opening day. And it is a position he's still learning, but he noted to Hayes Carline, and you'll catch that interview on the Frangie Show later today, and it's, of course, available on demand on our 1010XL Jaguars channel. He noted he's playing a little nickel, and so I feel like Matt Hayes, when he once upon a time said slot, slot, slot with regards to Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, and Marvin Jones, I feel like that's how we are approaching the Jaguars defensive back room. But the slot is one of the most versatile positions, or has to be one of the most versatile players on a football field, because you're asked to crowd the line of scrimmage, you're asked to drop back into coverage, you're asked to man-to-man follow a player and be able to be a sure tackler, also be able to make plays in open space. And so if that is the philosophy, get guys who are versatile and can do a bunch of different things and line up in multiple spots, then so be it. Then he fits that ideal perfectly.
Yeah, the speed, like you mentioned, 4.33 is impressive. That's the same time that Brian Thomas Jr. ran his 40 once upon a time. And I think he's a guy that's also a really smart football player. And that's why, James Gladstone famously said he puts the safe in safety. And that's going to be his position. Jalen McLeod, did you see anything out of the linebacker?
No, not really. Again, unfortunately, when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, not really a whole heck of a lot you can do in this sort of setting. I did get a chance to be standing where the defensive linemen were. Just wanted to kind of eyeball it first off the bus, kind of eye test, if you may. Was unfortunately a player that we talked a ton with Justin Mello about last week, and Danny Strigow. He was not in attendance because fortunately he had a wedding he had to attend to. So we didn't get a chance to see Strigow. But as far as some of the
he must have been in the wedding, because I feel like you don't miss rookie minicamp for just any wedding.
He was in the wedding from what an official said. As far as some of the other players that stood out along that defensive line without Strigow in attendance, Keevy Rose out of Arkansas, 6'3", 314. He was easily the largest of the defensive linemen. We knew that Mostert and James Carpenter, Eli Mostert out of North Dakota State, James Carpenter out of Indiana, are undersized interior defensive linemen. Again, much like the Derrick Henry discussion earlier of the program with Jaquindon Jackson, I'm not going to put them in the Aaron Donald category. I am not hyperbolically saying that. What I am saying is think undersized interior defensive lineman who can rush the passer from the inside. That's what I took away from those two players.
All right, Tony Baselli, Jaguars Executive Vice President of Football Operations, joined Jaguars today a little bit earlier today, and Baselli was asked about the head coach, Liam Cohen, and what made him the right hire.
And then he got me, though, I'll be honest with you, probably, that 30 to 45-minute time after talking about Trevor and kind of his approach and overall as an organizational approach and everything else. He pivoted real quick and said, one of the most important things is we have to get the offense and defensive lines right, that you win the game. And he started going down this path, and I'll be honest with you, he played college quarterback. He's an offense coordinator. So in my mind, immediately, never having met him, is he going to be the typical, let's throw it around the field and look and show everyone how smart we are because we can throw it better than anybody else. And he immediately pivoted and went and said, it starts up front. It starts when you break the huddle and what that group looks like. And and their ability to control the line of scrimmage.
He also went on to say that Liam Cohen can coach every position on the offense.
Yes, that he did. I was having this chicken or the egg conversation at home this weekend because I saw so many of you Heeligans and Jaguars fans discussing on the timeline this idea of the screen game and the improvement that we will see because of what Liam Cohen was able to do with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from a year ago. I'm curious because to have an effective screen game, a lot has to go right. You obviously need the running back. You obviously need the quarterback who can draw the defense in, whether through his eyes or just his ability to have a outside wide receiver who can give you the confusion and the illusion of, hey, he's actually going downfield to him. Oh, wait, nope, we're going to dump it off instead. You need an offensive line that can block. You need wide receivers who can block. You need tight ends who can block. And it got me thinking, just looking at what maybe has been the most underrated strength of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the last 5 years since Tom Brady joined the team in 2020, and that's their offensive line. And yes, I'm biased, but Tristan Wirfs is arguably, if not he's Penei Sewell, they're right there in terms of best tackles in the National Football League. Cody Mock has now been with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has been a starter for 3 years. Luke Gedke has been in that system. Graham Barton comes in, he beats out Robert Hainsey for the starting job, a 2-year entrenched starter. Redison at left guard. That's a group that's been together. And while, yes, pieces have come along at different times, I think it's one of the most underrated groups in the National Football League. I don't know if the Jaguars are at that level yet. If, for nothing else, they don't have a Pro Bowl, All-Pro left tackle. Maybe Walker Little gets there. That would be very nice. I think he can. But he's not Tristan Wirfs with the pelts on the wall that he has. And so that is why the fact that Liam Cohen, both philosophically, I would like to believe, throughout his coaching career, but especially coming off of the season they had in Tampa, to Tony's point, he didn't want to talk about Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. He wanted to talk about that group and how that allowed for him to have the success that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did a year ago.
Yeah, we watched the Buccaneers up close and personal last summer, right? They came here for training camp. The group that was so impressive to me, stature-wise, was the offensive linemen. And they had nasty in them. And that's something that we've talked about so often. Cam Robinson, to me, was kind of the only lineman for a while that had that edge to him, and certainly the physical play as well. And so that's something that the Jaguars lacked. And look, Liam Cohen, not only is the offensive line important, defensive line important, those lines of scrimmage, but especially here, because it all goes back to the quarterback. And if you can't protect the quarterback and you can't run the football, you're asking your quarterback to do too much, or he's not going to be healthy. And so I think Liam understands all that. Obviously, Tony Boselli was very familiar with the offensive line, and I think Boselli had a huge role in all the changes that have been made. We may end up seeing at least 3, maybe even 4 different offensive linemen start this year than a year ago. And so I do think that Tony and Liam and James all had those conversations. Even before James got here, though, Tony and Liam, the line of scrimmage, that offensive line is terrible. And we've got to fix it. And so that's why they certainly did put resources into it. And Wyatt Mileman, another resource that they added through the draft. And I'll let people hear from him tomorrow. I think we're going to run out of time today. But I really like what I heard from him as well.
Yes. Well, let's hit one more. We do have a little bit of time. So let's hit what Tony Boselli thinks of that offensive line and what the Jaguars have been able to do so far.
Yeah, I'm really excited about our group. I mean, I think we went and got 4 guys in free agency. We drafted 2. We have, I think if you, I want to get this right, I think we have 9 or 10 guys who've started games in the NFL across the line now. Really happy with what Liam did with our coaching staff, Sean Surratt. Watching him operate and his assistants and the details and kind of how they're going through it. I have a lot of confidence in Sean Surratt, our coach, and the group that we've pulled together. It was obviously a point of emphasis. We invested heavily in that area. And I think you're going to see the results on the field. We have a lot of work to do still. Obviously, we've got to go through camp, but I think we have good depth, and I think we're going to have a really competitive atmosphere during training camp this year to see who takes one of those 5 jobs up front, and we'll see who's there on opening day.
One other interesting note along the offensive line, and to Tony's point, Lauren, the idea of how practices will be conducted in that room. Yes, Sean Surratt is obviously the offensive line coach. 2 of the offensive assistants hired this offseason will major, or at the very least, it appears they will major in offensive line. That's Trevor Mendelson, who was with Western Michigan last year, and then I'm going to butcher this one forever, Kikua, who was with, I call him he's the Hawaiian. We have to come up with some sort of moniker for him because he's awesome. But the 2 of them were working with the offensive line on Saturday. And because the Jaguars only have 3 rookie offensive linemen, they both had to line up at both tackle spots, which was hilarious. But really interesting article from Keeley's time with the Carolina Panthers. The way that Joe Gilbert, Elmira native up in New York, the way that Joe set up the structure for practices was that one offensive line coach, whether assistant or primary, or pass or run game coordinator, worked with the centers, another worked with the guards, another worked with the tackles. Some other organizations, including Jacksonville last year, the offensive line coach worked with the starters and the second team, and then the assistant coach worked with the developmental guys. And so I'm very fascinated to see how they approach this, knowing that Tony Boselli and Liam Cohen have placed such an emphasis, not just on the offensive line being a strength in 2025, but development as well.
Yeah, I do hope that the rookies or the veteran that are new here talk to Tony Boselli one-on-one about what he did so well at the position. Leon Searcy as well. Talk to these guys that were elite in the NFL at that position. And
he's made there. Well, Leon, yes, but Tony will tell you Tony's a resource, but he's leaving it to Liam and the coaching staff.
Right, but I want the players to go on their own to someone like Tony and talk to him about. I know they're going to have Fred Taylor in the building later to talk to the rookies as well, and Tony, I'm sure, is speaking to them. And look, I just think you can never have enough resources. You can never have enough knowledge when it comes to stuff like this. And so, yeah, I hope that they all spend time with them. All right, we've got one segment to go on a Big Chief Tire Monday on 10 to 6 on 92.5 FM.
Take the straightaway at 200 miles an hour.
He's got him. Oh, there we go.
It's NASCAR's All-Star Race at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Sunday night, NASCAR is tuned up by Maxie's Mechanics on Jacksonville's NASCAR station 1010XL.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. Did you know that mosquito bites could lead to heartworm for your dog or cat? When mosquitoes show up, pet parents like me want them gone. Terminix takes mosquitoes down fast, just like they did at our house for our pup. Terminix knows that pets are part of the family, and they do what it takes to help protect them. When mosquitoes show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a mosquito problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
Get this. Joey and me were supposed to go to this concert next week, right? But then something terrible happened. Joey was driving without a seatbelt. But he didn't wreck. No, he got pulled over. Now Joey has to pay for a seatbelt ticket instead of a concert ticket, and I have to go by myself. How lame is that? So Joey, if you're out there, you're an idiot. Wear your seatbelt or you'll get a ticket.
All across the country, cops are cracking down. Click it or ticket, day and night.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
It's a Big Chief Tire Monday on Helmets and Heels.
All right, gentlemen, we've trained for this. We've battled the elements. But if there's one thing we can't afford, it's letting the heat take us out before the big game.
But Coach, the AC at my house is busted. I barely got any sleep last night.
Well, Johnson, you should have called Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. They're the real MVPs. Now let's cue the cool music.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. The coolest cats in town.
to the T here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find the scratch kitchen that comes through in the clutch every day, from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Come on, somebody.
If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
The future starts now. Let's go! Follow 1010XL's coverage of organized team activities, cooked up by Hurricane Grill and Wings and Heroes Lawn Care. Keep the off-season rolling with AA Automotive and 1010XL.
Rebound Rehabilitation. 11 great locations across the First Coast, and they're just a click away when it comes to feeling strong and healthy again. If you need the best path to recovery, look no further than Rebound Rehab. Log on and check out one of their great 11 locations.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. Now's the perfect time to order logo coffee mugs or maybe a logoed Sick brand tumbler. They're seriously ice cold and look great with your company logo. Hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
Get ready. Welcome to Rockville is gearing up to take over the Daytona International Speedway from May 15th to 18th with Green Day.
Sometimes I give myself back.
Korn. Shinedown. And Linkin Park. Plus Bad Omens, Incubus, Good Charlotte, Rob Zombie, Alice in Chains, Pierce the Veil, Marilyn Manson, 3 Days Grace, Sublime, Hailstorm, I Prevail, Three Doors Down, Jimmy Eat World, Motionless in White, Bush, Chevelle, Mudvayne, and so many more. Welcome to Rockville. North America's largest rock festival is finally here. May 15th to the 18th in Daytona Beach. 5 stages, 4 days, and over 150 bands. Select passes on sale now at welcometorockville.com.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather starting to turn for the better, look ahead. Get that backyard ready for spring with a new screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are best in the business. If you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Need or want cash? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
As we span the wide world of sports, and especially in the collegiate spring sports ranks and everything we missed, Lauren, I have the most underrated storyline in not just Northeast Florida, but all of college lacrosse, if not professional sports in the last week for you. Are you ready?
I am ready. By the way, yesterday's Florida lacrosse game was insane.
Yeah, a lot of mud and rain, and had to pull the goalie. And I don't want to blame Fennell for that, because they're like the one goal. I was like, okay, she's not on her A game, but also like with the mud. And then, in case you missed it, Florida wins it
13
overtime.
to 12.
Yeah,
Ugh, but second overtime.
Second overtime, the goalie for Stanford reaches back. The ball was still drilled. Like, it was like, what do you call it? Like dribbling? Not dribbling. What's like drooling? No, I'm coming up with the wrong terminology. Point being, it almost crossed the line. It did cross the line. Did it not? She pulls it back out of the net. They signal it's a goal. They go to video review. It's a goal. Florida advances to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament on the women's side. But I'll phrase it to you the same way Kevin phrased it to me. Does the name Dylan Hess ring a bell?
Yes.
Okay. Why is that?
Because Max Fink put it in his update and told us a whole story about him last week.
Okay. I obviously was not listening to Max's update because he says it to me, and I go, yeah.
He told us the story in the break of the guy.
I must have not been. I wasn't here. I must have been stepped out of the room or been working on something else because he says it to me, and I'm like, yeah, I covered him when he was at Ponte Vedra High School, and he was like, yeah, well, he got drafted in the PLL last week. And I was like, oh, he went to Georgetown, right? And he was like, well, yes, he went to Georgetown. He spent 4 years at Georgetown. This goes back to our conversation with Jason Priester of Clemson Insider on Friday. This idea, why is this not more prevalent or known? I don't know. This idea of, yes, you have 4 years to play one sport in college, but then within a 5-year range, you could play another sport. And so Dylan Hess goes to Florida to try to achieve his lifelong dream of playing football and doesn't make it as a walk-on on Billy Napier's Gator squad, joins the club team instead, the first club player ever drafted. No, I missed that. I apologize to Max. Max, if you're listening, I must have stepped out of the room or I was working on something multimedia here at my desk, and I missed that.
He was so excited to share it, too, because obviously Max loves lacrosse.
Yes, yep.
So, yeah, it's a really cool story.
Right.
But yeah, I thought you were going to go with one of the underrated storylines in the Northeast Florida sports scene would be Allison Benning.
No, we've been talking about, we got Shohei at home. We have Shohei at home.
But
yeah.
I feel like she's not known enough throughout our city with what she's been able to do. And yeah, like I mentioned, UNF won the ASUN championship, and now they won 5-4 on Saturday against second-seeded Eastern Kentucky. And Allison was named the ASUN tournament MVP. Her pitching record this year, 24-5. And so now UNF will be in the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history. They will go to South Carolina, and they will go up against, obviously, South Carolina and the Virginia and Elon, UNF, the 3 seed. Watching the selection show last night was super cool, and I'm excited for everyone in the Osprey softball family.
I loved when they cut to the victory shot of UNF learning its destination, and I love whenever they do that, and I've been in that room 10,000 times, whether that's, somewhere at the University of Florida, University of Iowa, and I'm like, hey, I've been there. I'm the Leo DiCaprio meme of pointing at the TV, but yes, they were up in the Bank of England suite at UNF Arena. Great to see. First time in program history, the Ospreys headed to the NCAA tournament.
I'm sure you saw what happened with the SEC softball championship.
Yes.
Due to weather, I could have made this the best of the day. Due to the weather, the game was canceled. So they crowned Texas A&M and Oklahoma as co-champions, and they never played the game. Yeah. Like, come on, y'all.
I feel like Alyssa Lang was like living in Athens too. Like every time I looked, I'm like, I feel like she's been there for like 3 weeks. Like, I mean, good for her, but yeah.
No.
And then no championship to show for
that
it.
That annoyed me.
Yeah.
All right, baseball update. When it comes to the Baseball America rankings, those are the ones that I like to use. LSU is 1, Auburn 2, North Carolina 3, Georgia's 4, FSU 5 now. Texas is 6, Arkansas 7, Coastal Carolina is 8, Oregon's 9, Vanderbilt is 10, Florida now up to 13th. Florida, of course, had fallen out of the rankings when at one point in time Florida baseball was 1-11 in the SEC, but now have 5 straight series wins, which is super impressive. And Aiden King yesterday, I don't know if you had time to watch Florida baseball, but Aiden King, the product of Bishop Snyder, the freshman pitcher, is a stud. He threw 7 scoreless, and Florida beat Texas for the second time over the weekend. I think Florida would have won on Saturday, but there was a rain delay, and so Florida wasn't able to throw their pitcher back out, which obviously Texas wasn't either. But either way, Florida beat then ranked second Texas. They're number 1 in the D1 baseball. I always go by Baseball America, and so Texas was second in that. So really impressive from Kevin O'Sullivan that his squad was able to take down the likes of Arkansas recently, certainly South Carolina before that, and then now Texas, at Texas. Amazing.
They can't keep getting away with this. The birthday boy, Dan Hickens, shout out to Dan.
Yeah, happy birthday, Dan.
Happy birthday, Dan. Dan mapped it out like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
I got to tell the multimedia team to like go back in the Wayback Machine, go in the time machine and pull up the segment where Dan literally maps out on the drill. Hey, if they can win this many games in this series, if
it's
they
a 500 in the SEC.
Sweep this series, do this, do that, they'll be able to do it again for a second consecutive year, rally in the second half of the season, make the NCAA tournament, and by golly, they're on track to do it again.
You got that right. So Florida plays host to Alabama. That final regular season series starts Thursday at 6:30. You can hear all that action on 10:10 a.m. Speaking of FSU, I told you they were ranked 5th. This upcoming weekend, FSU, so again, 5th in the country, plays host to number 3 North Carolina there in Tallahassee. FSU is 36-11 on the season, 16-8 in the ACC, 23-5 at home. So it's going to be tough sledding for North Carolina. FSU traveled all the way to Cal this past weekend and won 2 out of 3 there at Cal. UNF swept Queens at home, and then UNF travels the final midweek game for them at USF tomorrow, 6 p.m. And then the final regular season series for both. That's right. For both UNF and JU is at JU, and that begins on Thursday. First pitch at 7 o'clock. Super exciting stuff to have those two have to battle it out for the final games of the ASUN regular season. And one other football note, we talked a little bit about Florida, not really much college football today, but the next show we'll do all college football. Florida Gators football, the homecoming this year. October 18th against Mississippi State. It has been LSU in the past, which is always a scary one. But yeah, Mississippi State this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, whatchamacallit, am I blanking on his name? I should know his name. From Savannah, was the Florida State quarterback last year. Is now at Mississippi State. Luke Kromenhoek is in position. Correct me if I'm wrong. He's in pole position to be the starting quarterback at Mississippi State next year.
Potentially.
Old friend alert for the Gators on homecoming.
We knew it couldn't be LSU this year because Florida is at LSU. All right, so speaking of college football, like I said, the next show, XL Primetime, is live from the ACC coaches meetings up there in Amelia Island. So we will say hello to them now.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
XLP, what is up?
What's going on, ladies? What's going on?
Hey, Matt, who are you going to be talking to today? All the coaches?
As many as we can get. There's a lot of crazy going on here. First day of ACC spring meetings here at the beautiful Ritz-Carlton here on Amelia Island. Yeah, a lot going on. A lot going on for a conference that's in year 2 of its new expansion. And a lot of teams that need to make a move right now, including Miami and Florida State, the quote-unquote locals for us.
Have we gotten a Bill Belichick sighting yet?
No, but apparently... No, I don't even know what to call her. His muse.
His muse. That's what he calls her. We're going to call her.
Came in second in the Miss Maine beauty pageant, Miss Maine USA beauty pageant. I think it was Maine, right?
Yes, it is.
One
Maine.
of those Northeast states. Leon doesn't know. He doesn't care. Maine, right? Apparently, she finished first runner-up last year. She was second runner-up this time around. I would be shocked if she was here, but. It is a nice place. It's a nice resort here. You never know.
And Bill...
You never know, ladies.
Bill was...
If she is, we'll try and get her on, all right? How about that?
Yes, I need that. Bill was up there for the Miss Maine competition. I mean, they got to have a private jet, Matt.
He was.
Right, exactly. They got to be able to slide back on down. Come on now.
He was up there with her and her 50-year-old father, yeah. Just thought I'd throw that number out there for you guys.
That Ritz-Carlton is beautiful, Matt. So
you guys, nothing. There's no comment from that for you guys?
That's
nothing
correct.
at all?
I clapped. You couldn't hear my clapping. There's a little bit of a delay. It's
We're
fine.
moving on. So, yeah, who exactly will you try to talk to today? A little maybe Dabo?
We're going to, we are efforting, as they say, Lauren Brooks. Dabo Sweeney right now, and we will talk to Mario today at some point. We're going to try and get Bill O'Brien as well, and Manny Diaz, and yeah, and we're going to also try and get the commish, Jim Phillips, as well.
Very nice, very nice. All right, boys, we're looking forward to prime time.
Okay, ladies, thank you.
And, of course, those interviews will be available on demand immediately following XL Primetime, which takes over for us from 2 to 4.
What a big day today. Baselli on with Jaguars today, and then them live at the Ritz-Carlton in Amelia Island for the ACC Spring Meeting.
In case you missed Tony Baselli, it is available on the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel, 1010XL Podcast Network, 1010XL Best Of on SoundCloud. If you missed it, you can go find it right now.
Yeah, Tony Baselli gave about 20 minutes with Jaguars today, so certainly we appreciate his time. XL Primetime is live from the ACC Spring Meetings, so don't go anywhere. For Mia O'Brien, for the vacationing Taylor Dahl, for RJ Saunders, I'm Lauren Brooks. These heels are made for talking. We will talk to you.